Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and today we are taking a look at the latest news up in Toronto around Maple Leaf superstar Auston Matthews. Auston Matthews is due for a new contract in the next couple of seasons, and we're starting to get a little bit of information. Again, this is all rumor, but this is something to at least look at. He's looking at the potential long-term future in Toronto. And there's a key factor in that, and we're going to go over that key factor today. So this is according to Frank Saravelli, who is obviously a big TSN insider. And he mentions that the future of Kyle Dubas in Toronto may have a significant impact on Auston Matthews as they are close to potentially getting a new contract done. Now, here's the thing with Auston Matthews. Obviously, Auston Matthews is the superstar on the Leafs, and they took a lot of heat, Kyle Dubas, for the contract he signed Auston Matthews to a couple of years ago. And the reason for that is, well, they walked him straight into unrestricted free agency. So they got the number at what they did. But moving forward, he's going to get a significant pay raise, and the Toronto Maple Leafs were unable to buy any years of unrestricted free agency from Auston Matthews. And basically the deal walks him till he's 26 or 27 years old, which would be unrestricted free agency, which means Auston Matthews has full autonomy on where he can go. Now, looking at the Maple Leafs roster. So looking at Auston Matthews' situation, he signed this contract back February 5th of 2019. He signed a 5-year, $58 million contract, paying him an annual cap hit of $11.6 million. And the total salary, most of it has already been paid out to Auston Matthews. $15.2 million the last two July 1sts, $9.7 million last year, $7.2 million this July 1st, and $7.2 next July 1st. So Auston Matthews' total salary is half of what it was in the first 2 years of that contract, but that's not really the bigger issue here. He's already gotten a lot of his money, and it's not that big of a deal, but the problem is he's going to want more than his current contract, and his current contract, like I said, was 11.6, and considering how much better he's gotten, he may want a little bit of a raise there, and he wants what he's worth. And last season, he put up his most points he has ever put up in a National Hockey League season. Only a 73-game schedule last year. He put up 60 goals, 46 assists with 106 points, a plus 20 with 9 points in 7 playoff games in that first round series. I know you guys like to forget that, but he did play well last season. He played so good last year with those 60 goals. He also won the Rocket Richard for the most goals in the National Hockey League. So obviously Auston Matthews is going to get a pretty big pay raise. And to make things even more interesting, if you thought about maybe trading Auston Matthews, not that you would, but unfortunately in the final year of that deal, starting July 1st of 2023, the annual average cap hit increase from 2020 to 21 due to the raised league minimum salaries. Okay, so that's from the whole situation with COVID. But next year's deal, like I said, from 2023, July 1st of 2023 till the end of his contract a year before, he has a full no movement clause. So he has no protection in terms of a trade for the first 4 years of that deal, including this one. But like I said, next July 1st, he will be untradeable. Absolutely, unless he waives that no movement clause. That's the only way he could get traded. So when you look at the Maple Leaf situation, it is going to be quite interesting because you look at right now, he is the highest paid player on the Maple Leafs at $11.6 million, only ahead of Mitch Marner making $10.9, and of course the captain John Tavares making $11 million per season. You would have to expect it's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of around Nathan MacKinnon and Connor McDavid, which is around $13 to $14 million per year, which, as crazy as that sounds, that's welcome to the NHL. That's kind of where we're at, and especially with the salary cap probably getting close to $100 million by 2030, there is the expectation out there that this, even if it's $14 million, won't, with the cap increase, won't seem like that much. The annual cap hit will kind of stay the same, the cap hit percentage on the roster. So you look at the cap space they have. They have $14 million in cap space next year, which is important because they do have some guys that do have to get signed. Depending on what happens with Ilya Samsonov, his money will be coming off the books next year. Justin Hall, and that's kind of it. You've got a couple of other guys throughout the lineup. Michael Bunting will probably see a significant raise next summer. He might not even be here next year. And then you look at a couple of other guys, David Camp, Nicholas Aube-Kubel, Zach Aston-Reese, Kerfoot, Engvall, nothing really that big. And the other good news is a lot of these contracts end next year. So you look at their current cap situation, TJ Brody and Jake Muzzin's deals come off the books right before Auston Matthews has to get paid out. And that's the good news for the Leafs. Same thing for Matt Murray. Murray's money also ends July 1st of 2024, which is the first day of unrestricted free agency, or potentially could be the first day of unrestricted free agency for, of course, Auston Matthews. Now, here's the thing. Their cap hit right now, they do have a decent amount of cap space. So right now you look, $14 million next year. Obviously no money this year. They're going to have $55 million to play with in 2 years, in 2024. July 1st of 2024. So there is the expectation that the Leafs are going to be one of those teams that, listen, they're going to be looking to get things done here pretty quick, because especially in Toronto, the longer you are in a contract year and just the mental drain from the media, the Leafs have to figure this out. They have to already have a game plan for this, because if Auston Matthews comes in saying, I want 14.5, well, what do the Leafs do? Right? Do they try and negotiate it down to 13.5 to get it to 14? What do you end up doing here, right? So, I don't know. I think this is an interesting situation. They don't really go into detail necessarily on if Auston Matthews is happy with or not happy with Kyle Dubas. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see how things play out. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I think the rumors about him potentially going to Arizona are kind of the most ludicrous. It just makes no sense for the player. It doesn't really make sense for the team in Arizona, for that matter. I mean, of course, they'd take him, but they don't have the team. God, they don't even have the arena. So that's kind of something I just don't see happening. But I do think there is a realistic opportunity where he could leave the Leafs. But again, I think if the Leafs can put that to bed as quickly as possible, it kind of ends the conversation there. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.